Welcome to POV, Planning and Organizational Visioning, bringing you insights from experts in planning, sustainability, and organizational management. I'm your host, James Rouse. On today's episode, we have Derrick Lovett, currently Executive Director of Mid-Bronx Desperados, MBD Community Housing Corporation. MBD is a 501c3 multifaceted Bronx-based community development agency dedicated to preserving and creating affordable housing. MBD was founded in 1974 as a coalition of volunteers determined to save their community from the overwhelming incidents of arson, disinvestment, abandonment, and population loss that had decimated the Crotona Park East section of Bronx Community District 3. Owning 42 buildings and over 1,200 units, MBD has been instrumental and has served as a catalyst in the development of a revitalization plan to restore necessary public services, renovate abandoned buildings, and develop new housing to repopulate their neighborhood. Prior to MBD, Mr. Lovett was a tenured banker with over 25 years of service in the finance industry as a vice president at JP Morgan Chase and Citigroup. He has vast experience in all types of commercial credits, was responsible for the origination, underwriting, and portfolio management of all types of commercial real estate loans. Mr. Lovett managed a $500 million portfolio and negotiated a $250 million construction permanent financing in his last year as a banker alone. Early in his career, Mr. Lovett served in the United States Marine Corps. He joined in 1980 and went to boot camp in Parris Island, South Carolina. He was then attached to the 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines in Camp Pendleton, California. He was attached to an administration unit in order to have time to box for the battalion boxing team, where the team won the West Coast Boxing Division against other branches of services. In 1982, he was deployed to Korea and Japan and was the first Marine to raise the American flag at Camp Mujuk in Pohang, South Korea. Mr. Lovett has a Bachelor's of Arts in Economics from Fordham University and has certifications in Real Estate Management, Green Professional Building Skills Training, a Certified Assisted Housing Manager, a Certificate in Real Estate Finance from NYU, and a Certificate from JP Morgan Credit Training Program. How are you today, Derrick? Thank you for joining me today.
I am well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, you've had a pretty interesting career. You've served in Marines, got an economics degree, worked at a number of banks, run one of the most storied CDCs in the Bronx. Give us a brief snapshot of what drew you to each and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I wish I could say that I planned it from the beginning, but I was a young man, grew up in Westchester County, pretty much from a poor family, and just my mother instilled in one thing in us: always be your best. And so when I joined banking, I didn't know where I was going. I just knew that whatever I did, I was going to be the best. For example, one day I started off as a bank teller, and one day, I would always wear a suit and tie. And one of the bank tellers said to me, "Why are you wearing a jacket and a suit? All you need is a shirt and tie. You're only a teller." I said, "No, you're only a teller. I'm a teller." I was always the best that I can be. My mother also taught us to be of service to others. There was an older lady that lived next door to us. We used to always assist her with going to the store and helping with her bags. I became a Boy Scout, and I was always of service to others. When I was working at Chase Manhattan Bank, I received an award from the CEO as a Volunteer of the Year. Nice. And so the corporate discipline, the leadership skills that I obtained in the Marine Corps, the character that my mother put into her children, all comes to play here.
So it seems like you had a strong family background who was always kind of driving you, and that you chose careers that you could exemplify that kind of character and attitude.
I guess that's kind of what happened. But I think that as many people go through their career, they work because they have to. They work because they need to put food on the table, they need to have shelter, they need to survive. It's wonderful when you love what you're doing. So many years of working hard and just being the type of employee that others would want to employ gave me the ability to move up the ladder. I was with Chase for about 20 years, but I wasn't in one position. I started off as a bank teller, and I ended up as a vice president on Wall Street. By having drive and discipline allowed me to go to school at night and prove myself. So after being at Chase for 19 years, Citibank was after me, and A few years later, I decided to, you know what, it's time to make a move. I moved with Citibank, worked for Mark Yar, and I worked with him for 5 years, and that really opened up my eyes to the underwriting world. Whereas at Citibank, at Chase, got a lot of training. It was wonderful what we were doing, but I was pretty much working on one type of loan structure. Working with Mark opened it up and let me work on a myriad of different loan structures and allowed me to really be creative and how I looked at things. And what it also did is, underwriting construction loans, it's just something that really excited me. And
a lot of people say that.
Yeah, my friends call me, or used to call me Urkel on steroids, because I would always studying and working out. But it allowed me to really understand structuring and debt and bond deals, and whether it's typical traditional debt or whether it's a complicated structure. It's something that allowed me to help our clients kind of sherpa through. I remember one time it was Thanksgiving Eve. It was about 9:30 at night, and I'm on the phone with a client, and I'm talking to them about bond deals and tax credits and equity and how all different parts come into play and how the regulatory compliance is working. And so he said, "Thank you, Derrick. I'll let you know if you got the deal." So 2 weeks later, he called me up and said, "Derrick, sorry to tell you this, but you did not get the deal." And I said, "Okay, that's fine, but do me a favor. Tell me why." "Well, so-and-so is giving me 15 basis points less." And I said, "Okay, I'm not going to ask you to come with me, because I'm not dropping my pricing. But I want you to know, this is, in dollars and cents, this is what 15 basis points is. Do you understand that? Okay. Now, you understand what you're going to get with me. If you have a question, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to hold your hand, I'm going to run you through this. You know what kind of servicing you're going to get with me. Is that servicing, is that extra worth this amount?" He says, "Yes, Derrick, and so much more. I am so sorry. You have the deal." I said, "Fine. One thing that I will not do, I will not short sell myself or my services of a company. We provide, in other words, if you provide a premier product, then you deserve to get paid for that premier product." At MBD, when I came here, it was in a very sad state of affairs, but I knew the history of this organization. I knew the sacrifices that were made for the people that were here prior to me getting here, and I knew that it can once again be where it should be. So but one thing that I told my staff is, we're not just going to bring it back to where it should be. We're going to make it better. We're going to raise the bar. And everything that you do, how can we make it better? I remember one time an employee came to me and he said, "Mr. Lovett, I'm having such a hard time with these clients." And I said, "Well, have a seat. What's going on?" I said, "Okay." I said, "You have to understand something. We're changing the paradigm here. They're not used to being treated so well. So they're a little bit nervous. Like, who are these guys? Why are they coming at us so nicely? What do they want?" I said, "Because of the fact that they're not used to getting this type of treatment, we have to raise them up. We have to raise them up and get them used to being treated better. Don't you go down to their level. You bring them up to our level, because this is a new day. What we're presenting, we reposition pretty much all of our portfolio. New roofs, new boilers, new kitchens, new baths, new appliances. You walk in some of our buildings, it looks like you're going into a hotel. And the people that work there, we have our maintenance staff, our 32 BJ members, they take pride in their buildings. They almost challenge each other as far as who has a better building, but they work together in collaboration to make sure that this portfolio as a whole is better, because it's a team.
So
I guess that's a long
that's a kind of good synopsis of your whole entire career there. So you alluded to something that I was interested in discussing, is that you felt there was a certain culture that was here. And you came from one culture, and even within that culture, working at Chase and then working at Citigroup, there are going to be differences. And then coming from a military background, coming from a banking background, what kind of culture did you find here at MBD, and How did it differ from what you were used to, and was there any difficult in adjusting to that culture for you personally?
Good question. There were two cultures. One was the corporate culture that was here or was not here, the business culture here, and then the community, the culture in the community. NBD had a pretty bad reputation when I got here. And so with the finance world, with the politicians, they were just not welcoming. And that was different for me because in banking, who has the gold makes the rules. So as a banker having money, everybody welcomed you pretty much. And coming here and not being welcomed was strange. Mm-hmm. But I understood what it was. And I understood that what it was, I had to win back trust. And just like in the Marine Corps, when you have a group of people under you, you have to win their respect and their trust. And so that's something that we had to build on. But before I can build on the outside trust and respect, I had to build on the inside trust and respect. And I mean that by the company that I was working with. I came into the office one day and nobody was dressed appropriately. They had on jeans and sneakers with holes in them. I guess that was the style at the time. And no one had on a collared shirt. And it looked like people were having a picnic. And I told them that this is not how I would want to go to my company, my management company, or to do business. If I was doing business with you guys, I think that you were a joke. And so what we needed to do is first we needed to respect ourselves. Sure. We needed to become the professionals that we would deserve to be, to carry on the legacy of this company. So I immediately put in a dress code that no more sneakers, no more jeans, collared shirts, gentlemen to wear ties, jackets preferred, and ladies dress appropriately. That was the first thing to help us how we see ourselves. The second thing was how our customers saw us. We didn't have an appropriate waiting room, so I built a waiting room. We had file cabinets with boxes all over the offices, so we moved the filing cabinets, we painted the office, we made it a professional looking environment. So when they walked in, the impression of somebody walking in is not that you're coming to somebody's picnic, but you're coming to somebody's office to conduct business. Fast forward, we're now in a new space, and there's no mistaking what you're walking into when you come here. But one thing that I said to them, and it kind of shaped it, I said, we are no longer a non-for-profit that happens to be a corporation. We are now a corporation that happens to be a non-for-profit. So I put forward the discipline first. And with the corporations, there are many bottom lines. And one bottom line is financial. MBD was not hitting its financial bottom line, and it was in a bad way. But you have to put disciplines forward in order for you to start hitting those bottom lines.
Yeah, culture, I've learned over the years is extremely important. I appreciate what you're saying, just having a different lens to look at things through. And, being from the Bronx, growing up in the hood and understanding a certain mentality that's there, where it's a catch-22 that you want to be taken seriously. But at the same time, you either don't know or not willing to put in the effort to be taken seriously. It's this chicken before the egg kind of thing, and you need someone who's strong to come in, set the table.
And the important thing also, James, is about changing the culture comes from the top. You can't preach. Yeah. You have to do. Mm-hmm. For example, when I was talking to the maintenance staff, this is early when I first got here, and they were saying, well, Mr. Lovett, our snow blowers are broken. They don't work, and we've got a huge storm coming. What are we going to do? I said, well, right, we don't have money. We can't buy them. So what we're going to do, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to put our backs into it, and we're going to shovel. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to help. And they said, oh, yeah, right. They didn't believe me. So the storm came. The snow came at 12 inches or more. And I put my shovel in my automobile and drove in and helped the first guy shovel. He goes, well, thank you so much. And I went to the next guy, helped him shovel, and his name was Willie. Of course, he wasn't outside when we got there, and he started shoveling. He comes out with his coat open and his shovel. I said, dude, listen, just help us shovel because we got to go. And then he goes, where are you going? We're going to the next guy, and this guy's name was Willie. He really wasn't part of a team play. And he goes, hey, I want to be part of the snow shoveling detail. Well, come on. So we get to the next guy, Tony's building, and we all jump out with our shovels to help out. And Tony says, Willie,